Welcome to another episode of BS. Uh, Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's being safe. Before we get started, you're probably wondering about what is up with the background. I'm gonna be at houses. I'm gonna be changing houses weekly, so I'm gonna have to figure out where I want to film at my second location to say. So this is not gonna be the permanent background. I just wanted to see what it looked like over here. I'm gonna find probably a different background soon, so bear with me on that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode. We have a lot of things to talk about in this episode, but I had a couple plans for this episode, but before we really get started, so yesterday, unfortunately, Darius Jackson, if you don't know who he is, he was a backup quarterback for the Seahawks and Vikings. He unfortunately passed away yesterday. He got in a car accident, and which took his life. Very unfortunate. It's just a shame, man. He's 36 years old. Yeah, he was a really good backup. He really was. One of the best at his time, during his time, and playing in the NFL. Me personally, I was a fan of Darius Jackson. I became a fan of him during his 2011 season when he took over the place of Matt Hasselbeck, I believe, and he was. I really became a fan during that play. Like, I know he didn't have the best of stats, but if you look during those games, he played pretty well for what he was asked to do, and yeah, I became a really big fan of him, and it's just a shame. I It's just a real shame. He was 36 years old. I think he believed he had a coaching job in college, and yeah, it's just one of the best backup quarterbacks during his time, and I will not be ever forgetting him. He was a personal favorite player of mine, and yeah, it's just sad to see him go. But yeah, he was also a really good mentor to Russell Wilson during his time. I think he was one of the only backup quarterbacks to come into a Super Bowl in like the past. I heard something about this. Yeah, he was one of the only backup quarterbacks to come in during a Super Bowl when the starting quarterback was in and played a little bit. You know, yeah, he was a very good backup quarterback during his time and playing in the NFL during that era. And yeah, I would just like to say rest in peace, brother, and my prayers go to Darius Jackson's family. But I found out about that today. I was very shocked, and yeah, so rest in peace, Darius Jackson. All right, so let's get into topic number one. So I know a lot of people aren't talking about the Steelers much, but I believe we should be talking about them. I believe Ben Roethlisberger is done. I feel like his time and being a starting quarterback is over. I felt like it was over during 2017, but he's a pick machine, man. He's an interception machine, and I feel like his time being a starting quarterback is over, and it's time for the Steelers to move on. And I've never been like I heard like all the attitude problems he had during the 2018 season. I think he's become very arrogant, and I'm very disappointed in him ever since his 2017 season. And I just feel like his time in Pittsburgh is done. His injury, he's only gonna get worse from here. I feel like the Steelers need to move on from Ben Roethlisberger. I feel like he held his team back for a couple of years. Dude, they were loaded in 2017, the Steelers, when they went 13-3. They had AB back when he had Antonio Brown back before he became AB. He had, I believe, Martavius Bryant. They had Le'Veon Bell. They had a stellar defense during that year. They had a stellar defense. I don't understand how they lost to the Jags, to be honest with you. Like, they lost to Blake Bortles in the AFC divisional round. So, I mean, I feel like I felt like during that game it was mainly Ben Roethlisberger's fault. I feel like he hasn't been good in a very long time. He's been good, but I mean, he hasn't been elite in a very long time. I wouldn't even put him in the top 10. Maybe not even the top 15. I don't know. His play has gone down a lot. The Steelers organization really overrates him, which is understandable. He won them 2 Super Bowls, and I believe he made it to a third one. And I understand why you want to overvalue him, but it's the same Breeze. I love Drew Brees. Tom Brady, not really, but I respect him, sort of. But it's the same thing. When it's time to go, it's time to go, and you gotta go. I mean, maybe Ben Roethlisberger will be good in a backup role, but I feel like it's time for him to go. He's been dragging that organization down for too long, and it's time for a successor for Ben Roethlisberger. So yeah, I believe Ben Roethlisberger is done. He should be done. He's probably not going to be done. They're probably going to give him one more year or two. I don't know when he's planning on retiring. I think he says he has another 3 years left in him, which is crazy for the injury he had, which I would think he would retire after that year when he had that injury. It was like an elbow ligament torn. And yeah, so Ben Roethlisberger, in my personal opinion, I feel like his time as being the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback is done. And it's time to move on. And my personal pick, moving on to the next topic, my personal pick would be Mason Rudolph. And you're probably asking yourself, you saw him play last year, right? He was horrible. Not exactly. Not particularly. He had some things he needed to work on, which I believe he could have improved. But ever since he got knocked out, I believe it was week 6, before the whole Myles Garrett thing, before he got like hit with the helmet, which, man, that was rough. Let me tell you, that was just remembering that game when Myles Garrett slammed Mason Rudolph with the helmet. I was very upset. I was disgusted when I watched that. It was not good at all when Myles Garrett did that to Mason Rudolph. It's very unsportsmanlike conduct, very unsportsmanlike conduct, and it was just very horrible. He was out. I don't know what happened to make him do that. There's a bunch of reports out, but that's just not okay no matter what. Unless he held a gun to you, that was the only time you could ever it would be okay. Not even. I mean, you're in the middle of a football game. The only way I could see Myles Garrett doing that for it to be okay was if Mason Rudolph held a gun to Myles Garrett. That's the only way it would be okay for Myles Garrett to do what he did. But that was horrible. And I feel like Mason Rudolph got a lot of heat for that. And we don't truly know what he said, Mason Rudolph. So, I mean, we don't ever really know, but that was not okay. And yeah, but anyway, before that happened, Mason Rudolph got hit pretty hard one week. I think it was believed during the Ravens, and they were going up against the Ravens, I believe, in week 6, and yeah, Mason Rudolph got hit really, really hard. Like, he got knocked out. And ever since he got knocked out, he's never been playing the same. I mean, I felt like he was doing pretty good up to that point. And I think he needs a year to recover from that, because that really messed him up, in my opinion. People are not really talking about that. I see a future with Mason Rudolph in the Steelers organization. Me personally, I really do. I feel like he could. Maybe he's not ready yet. I feel like next year he could be ready, because he's a good leader. I remember in college he was a pretty good leader. I feel like he could be ready to take the place of Ben Roethlisberger starting next season. As long as he doesn't get hit in the head like he did last year, I feel like Mason Rudolph can not have. I feel like he could have a great career in the Steelers organization, and that's probably a very unpopular opinion due to what happened last year. He had a lot of drama, a lot of crap happened with him, but ever since he got hit, he was never the same. But I don't know, give him a chance. And he has some footwork that he needs to work on. If you look at his film, he has a lot of footwork issues that needs to be fixed, some mechanical issues. Like sometimes it seems like when he's throwing the ball, when he's like throwing it, when the pocket's being cluttered, when the defense is coming at him, he seems like to hold the ball in like he doesn't feel confident when he throws the ball, and that's all fixable things, all coaching adjustments that could be fixed if they give Mason Rudolph a chance, because he has a really good arm and he has a potential to be like really good in the NFL. Like I feel like Mason Rudolph could win the Super Bowl. That's how good I feel like Mason Rudolph could be, and he's a better leader than Ben Roethlisberger for the past like 5 years or so, maybe even 6, right? Yeah, I would say 5 or 6 years. He hasn't been a great leader. He's been very arrogant, and there's been a lot of crap going on around Ben Roethlisberger. So I feel like they need to let him go. I feel like he needs to retire because I don't think he could really do anything well anywhere else, because it's time to move on. It really is. And it's time to move on from Ben Roethlisberger, and Mason Rudolph should be the heir to Ben Roethlisberger. All right. Or they could, like, who else will they get? Like, what other options are there for the Pittsburgh Steelers? But I mean, they could go for the draft. Maybe there are better options. Maybe unless they trade up for Joe Burrow. I feel like any team would trade up for Joe Burrow because he's like a lot like Drew Brees, and you want a quarterback like that. Anyway, unless you can find them in free agency. But speaking of free agency, so who is the best player left in free agency? The answer is JD. Oh my God, I'm saying it wrong. Jadeveon Clowney. Hope I said that name right. I don't know why I started messing that up. Jadeveon Clowney. I feel like he's the best player left in free agency. I know a lot of people are saying Cam Newton, but I feel like he is non-existent to me. That's my opinion. Yeah, I feel like Jadeveon Clowney is the best player left in free agency, and I believe he will go to the Miami Dolphins. I feel like the Miami Dolphins are building something up, and I feel like Jadeveon Clowney can be part of that, because I feel like the Dolphins will be in the playoffs, at least maybe next year, but I doubt it. I feel like in the next 3 years, they could be deep into the playoffs. And I feel like Jadeveon Clowney can be a part of that. I feel like Jadeveon Clowney could be, like, he could go anywhere. I know there's a lot of rumors about him going to the Browns, but wherever he goes, he'll have a big impact onto that team. Maybe he'll re-sign with the Seahawks. I doubt it, though. They don't seem interested. Maybe they are. They're just not saying it. But I feel like Jadeveon Clowney could go to the Miami Dolphins. I feel like it would be a great piece to that organization. I feel like they have a lot of cap space. They could go for him. I mean, I feel like if they get Michael Bennett and Jadeveon Clowney, woo, that'd be a really good defensive end duo. I mean, they have the cap space for it. They could do it. I believe they could do it. And yeah, it's possible. I believe Jadeveon Clowney is the best player left in free agency. And yeah, I feel like there should be a lot of contenders going after him right now. I know there's some injury issues, but he's just worth it, man. He's really worth it. He can play linebacker and defensive end. I mean, he can play multiple positions, I feel like Jadeveon Clowney is the best player left in free agency, and I believe he will go to the Miami Dolphins, probably second pick. He'll go to the Cleveland Browns, which I would feel sorry for him and wish him well if he goes to the Browns. But I believe he'll go to the Miami Dolphins, in my personal opinion. All right, going to the news. All right, news number 1. Hold on a sec. News number 1. Okay, all right, so Dak Prescott got franchise tagged by the Dallas Cowboys. And now the Cowboys are doomed, no matter what. They're doomed because they would have to give Dak Prescott a huge contract, probably like a 5-year contract. What he's asking for is just insane. I don't know what his agent is smoking, but what he's asking for is insane. I'm tired of this. I'm actually angry now thinking about this. He is not elite. Not in the top 10, not in the top 15. And if he is in the top 15, you can use your money wisely and get a better quarterback either in the draft or something. I mean, me personally, I feel like they should get what's his name? Teddy Bridgewater. They should have gotten Teddy Bridgewater while he was in free agency. He's a much better pick, and he was cheaper, and he could be a better long-term option, even though he would be going to the Dallas Cowboys. And me personally, Eagles fan, I love Teddy Bridgewater, but if he went to the Dallas Cowboys, sorry. Yeah, I feel like they could have gotten a cheaper option. Dak Prescott is very, very average. I know it's nothing new, but it's just the truth. I don't mean to sound like everyone else by saying he's very average. He just is. Look at the film. I mean, he has easy checkdowns. His deep ball has gotten better, but I feel like he's reached his limit. And he went 8-8. He went 8-8. If he was the answer, they would have gone. 10-6, 11-5. I feel like Deshaun Watson could have gotten the job done in Dallas. I mean, Dak needs tools. He needs tools no matter what. If you look at Carson Wentz, he had no tools. They picked him off. They picked some guys off in the practice squad, and then he had Nelson Aguilar, Nelson Dropalor. Sorry, that's his real name. I mean, yeah, I'm just done with the Dak Prescott's elite. There's no more excuses for him. Last year was his prove-it deal. He went 8-8. His leadership, top notch. I gotta say, top notch for his leadership. All right, but on the field, no. He's very average. Use your money wisely. He's not worth that insane amount of money that he's asking for. And that's one way they're doomed. And another way they doomed is if he doesn't play. There's a chance he might not play. I mean, you might have that backup quarterback, Cooper Rush, I believe his name is, who reminds me a lot of Jason Garrett, believe it or not. The way he plays reminds me of Jason Garrett as a backup quarterback. It's not because they have red hair. But just the way they play. You know what I mean? And Cooper Rush, come on. He's not the future starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He can't start for a whole entire season. Maybe he could start for 3 games at least. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like they're screwed either way. They're either baited to give him an insane amount contract, like a humongous contract, and they would just waste all that money on a guy who needs tools all the time. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't mean to be mean to him. I mean, I feel bad for what everybody's saying. Like, literally everybody but Skip Bayless, because he's a diehard Cowboys fan, and diehard Dak Prescott fan. He's just painfully average. Can never get it done. I mean, he's garbage time yards. I mean, he's just garbage time everything, and it's just the truth. It's just the truth. I mean, a lot of those touchdowns came in when it didn't matter the most, and when they needed him the most, he couldn't deliver, and it's just a shame, but it's the truth. And just look at the film; it's just very disappointing, and then I'm tired of hearing the excuses like Zeke didn't play as much, Zeke didn't go to his full potential. I'm sorry, does Patrick Mahomes have Kareem Hunt anymore? He has Damian Williams, who's really, really good, but he's not as good as Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, I'm just done with the excuses for Dak Prescott. It is time for him to take responsibility, and I think he's reached his limit. I mean, not his limit. I think he's reached his capacity of improving. I think this year he downgraded a lot. He's downgraded, I think, almost every year for the most part, except last year. I feel like he improved a lot, but I think he was the same as last year as he was this year. Yeah. So it's a shame that the Cowboys will be doomed. I mean, I'm a Cowboy hater, but I feel bad for the fans of the Cowboys a little bit. I mean, they're the Cowboys. I mean, anyway, I don't mean to be biased, but I feel like they're doomed either way. They're both stuck in a hole either way by having franchise tagged Dak Prescott, and yeah, I feel like they should draft a quarterback. to be honest with you. Maybe give Dak Prescott some competition. But there's really no one else better out there, I guess, than Dak Prescott. I mean, I wouldn't even count Cam Newton. Cam Newton is not even the top 25, top 20. I mean, top 20. I don't want to be that mean. Top 21. I mean, he's not even there. But Joe Flacco is just, he's done and everything. I don't think he's even a suitable backup. Yeah, I guess Dak Prescott is their best option unless they draft a quarterback, which I doubt they do since they franchise tagged him. And I don't know if he'll play. If he's going to play next year or not. And I think even if he does play, I feel like the way he's acting, it's very selfish. Doesn't deserve that contract. And Jerry Jones is wrong for like saying the whole entire year he does deserve that contract. Then why aren't you giving it to him? I mean, like the whole entire year, Jerry Jones kept saying, "Oh, I believe in Dak. I believe in Dak. I believe in Dak. Oh, it was Jason Garrett's fault." I mean, he's very two-faced. And maybe he doesn't want to go back to the Cowboys organization. I don't blame him, Dak Prescott. But he's not worth it. I mean, who knows? Who really knows? It's either way, the Cowboys are doomed. They're going to have another 8-8, maybe 7-9 season. And yeah, those are my final thoughts on Dak being franchise tagged to the Dallas Cowboys. All right, and this one happened a while ago too. Stephon Diggs got traded to the Bills, and there's a whole bunch of drama that happened with this too. I mean, players not getting along with their teams again. I don't know what happened specifically. I know there's like a bunch of different outlet rumors, but who really knows? Because they're just rumors. Apparently, he wasn't happy with Kirk Cousins, and then Stephon Diggs, he says he was happy with Kirk Cousins, but I don't know. I mean, who really knows? I don't think it had anything to do with Kirk Cousins because Stephon Diggs came out on multiple occasions, and he really did not have to. I mean, he called out his quarterback quite a few times last year, and he did not need to keep defending Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs. But I think it was all about the money. I think he wanted more money. I felt like he probably felt like he deserved more money. And the wide receiver duo, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, are now separated. I thought they were going to be together for life, and it's just because I'm a really big fan of both players. I liked when they were both on the same team. But, I mean, I understand Stephon Diggs. And he's not a big diva. I mean, he has diva moments. Like, when I say diva moments, I mean like Antonio Brown, like Odell Beckham Jr., like when they want more yards and stuff. Like he has those moments sometimes. I'm not calling him out all the time. But I mean, it's a shame. I mean, he's also going down back at quarterback. He thought Kirk Cousins wasn't as impressive. Like he's going to Josh Allen, who has the potential to be really good one of these days. I wasn't a big believer in Josh Allen. I thought Josh Allen was going to be a bust, and it was wrong for me to give up on him after his first year. I think Josh Allen's going to have the Cam Newton issue by year 5 because he keeps getting hit a lot. And yeah, but maybe Josh Allen can improve. Maybe he sees something bigger with Josh Allen than Kirk Cousins. But I can tell you it's not because of Kirk Cousins. Because he would have called out Kirk Cousins because he called him out on multiple occasions. Just look at his tweets, look at his like criticisms on Kirk Cousins, and he would have called his teammate out on Twitter, which I think is wrong. And me personally, if you have a problem with Kirk Cousins, you should go to him personally instead of disputing that on Twitter. So yeah. So what does this mean for the Bills? They just got a whole lot better. I feel like the Buffalo Bills could have the best receiving group in the NFL. Well, nah, I think it still goes to the Chiefs, but I mean, they're up there now. They're probably in the top 6 best receiving core. I mean, you got Cole Beasley, you got John Brown, and you got Stephon Diggs. And Cole Beasley and John Brown, they're both really, really good players who meant to be starters. They're both really good players. So Josh Allen's loaded. I mean, with tight end, I forget his name. He has a pretty good tight end, though. I like his tight end. But, yeah, I mean, the Bills are loaded. They're loaded on offense. They're ready to roll. They even have a couple good backups to back just in case one of the 3 get injured. I'm going to call them the primetime Bills. I don't know. Primetime receiving core. I don't know. They're just really good. Really good receiving core the Buffalo Bills has. And it just got a whole lot better. But the reason why the Vikings traded Stephon Diggs, and me personally, I think it was due to money. I really believe it was due to money. I think he wanted more money. They couldn't get an agreement on that. He has to be traded. And I think there's no bad blood. It's just he's moving on. It's kind of like the Randy Moss situation in a way. So, yeah. Good for Stephon Diggs. Good for the Vikings organization, I guess. Not really good. I feel bad for Vikings fans, but, I mean, there's no bad blood, and that's the most important thing. And I think they ended on good terms. So, yeah, Stephon Diggs to the Bills. Good for the Bills fans. Bad for the Vikings fans, but at least they didn't end on bad terms. All right. Moving on to... All right. We're going to talk about my homeboy Eagles, home team. Let's go. Darius Slay got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes. We finally have a good cornerback, ladies and gentlemen. It's about time. Yes. Oh, I don't remember the last time we had a good cornerback. Asante Samuel. Whew. That was a long time ago. And we finally have a good quarterback. I mean, I'm probably in the majority of the minority when I say this. I thought Jalen Mills was good. Patrick Robinson was really good. But, I mean, we have an elite corner. I believe Darius Slay could be an elite corner. And he's a well-known name. He's a well-known name. I don't remember the last time we had someone that well-known cornerback-wise in a really long time. Asante Samuel. But, I mean, I feel like this is good. We also picked up another really good corner, too. And, yeah, I mean, this is very good for the Eagles. Trust me, this is very good for the Eagles. The Eagles needed a cornerback desperately. They really needed a cornerback. Really needed a new cornerback desperately. And they finally got it. Now, I mean, Darius Slay, man. One heck of a player. And welcome to the Philadelphia Eagles. And now I know there's some controversy that happened with Matt. Hold on. I know there was some controversy with the Lions head coach, Matt Patricia. Sorry about that. Matt Patricia. I don't know why I blanked on that. I know there was some controversy with Matt Patricia and Darius Slay. I think it was just a wrong, I don't want to say impression, bad introduction Matt Patricia did towards Darius Slay. He insulted him as a player, and I know he was joking, but Darius Slay didn't let that go. And I believe they needed the separation. They didn't like each other, obviously, but Darius Slay really liked the players in Detroit. He liked his teammates, and he wanted to play for them. And what does this mean with the other players at Detroit? What does that mean? They all don't like Matt Patricia? If I'm being honest, I think Matt Patricia was a really good option for Detroit. Still give him a chance, even though there's some backlash that happened. Sorry about that. That happened over there with Darius Slay and Matt Patricia. But I feel like Matt Patricia is still the answer for the Detroit Lions, and they just had a bad start. And I feel like the players, if you could tell, the players do really respect him. From what I've seen, they really like playing for him. If Matthew Stafford never got injured last year, never know, they could have made it to the playoffs. I mean, I feel like they remind me a lot of the 49ers situation, and I feel like the Detroit Lions could go 9-7 or 10-6 next year. Because of Matt Patricia, I feel like he knows what he's doing. I believe in him. And, yeah, unfortunately they had a bad thing happening. But fortunately, he's with the Eagles. Let's go. Yes, we finally have a good cornerback. And I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier for Darius Slay coming to Philadelphia. And, yeah, I mean, the cornerbacks next year for the Eagles, they got some things going. We finally got rid of Ronald Darby. Yes. We finally did it, boys. Let's go. I couldn't be happier for Darius Slay coming to the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, can't wait till next year to see him play. He's going to be wearing Kobe's number 24. Really good sign of respect. He looks like he really cares about his players, and I think this is a perfect fit for Philadelphia. I personally would have liked Byron Jones better, but the Eagles are cheap, and I don't mean to talk bad about my Eagles, but Howie Roseman really frustrates me sometimes. So, but yeah, Darius Slay coming to the Eagles. very excited. Can't wait to see him play this year, hopefully, if the NFL starts. All right. You all know what time it is. It's Monday's segment. The Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame. Our first contender played for the Patriots. Played wide receiver and cornerback for the Patriots. He is retired. He retired in 2008. You probably know him. You probably know him as Troy Brown. Give a round of applause to him. Okay. Troy Brown. He won Super Bowls. Won 3. I heard some discussion about this. I just heard some discussion about him possibly being in the Hall of Fame consideration. And it's not a good idea. I like Troy Brown. I'm kind of a fan of his, even though he's a Patriot. But I liked how he played multiple positions, you know. I like players that can do that. He was very helpful with Tom Brady. He had that one season where he caught for 1,199 yards, almost made it to 1,200. Man, he's a beast. He's a real beast, real hard worker. And he's in the Hall of really good. He's not, unfortunately, in the Hall of Fame. I think this is our first player that's not making it into the Hall of Fame. So I want to say he's a really good player. Had a really, really good career. One of the best Patriots of all time. But he's not gonna be in the Hall of Fame. And I know a lot of people are trying to make the case for him, but he never really changed the position. I mean, there were some players like him before that played cornerback and wide receiver and stuff. He never did anything spectacular, but he was clutch when he needed to, obviously. I think he was he's the third best wide receiver, or fourth best, sorry, I forgot Randy. Fourth best wide receiver Tom Brady ever had. And, yeah, Troy Brown. Unfortunately, not in the Hall of Fame, but one hell of a player, let me tell you. All right. Moving on. Played for the Vikings for a ton of years. Ran for 2,000 yards. I think he has the most yards in a single game. Or second most, sorry. He has the second most yards in a single game. You all know him. Adrian Peterson. Give a round of applause to him. Hall of Famer. Let me tell you, this guy's a beast. He was one of the top 10 running backs. Always phenomenal to watch. Deserves a Super Bowl, but I don't think he's going to win it with the Redskins. Man, he always lifted the team. He always lifted the Vikings up. Always made them the best as they could ever be. Let me tell you. Adrian Peterson, one of the best players. One of the best running backs. One of the best Vikings players. It's either Randy Moss or Adrian Peterson, depending on your particular position you like. Adrian Peterson, one heck of a player. One of the best running backs of all time. Consistent 1,000-yard season after another. Like, seriously. Like, one of the best to ever play the position. And, I mean, even in his playoffs, he was pretty good too. I mean, he was a beast. He was a real beast. I feel like he's still at his prime. He's like the oldest player ever to run for 1,000 yards. I feel like he has it till he's 38. You know, he's still got a long ways. 38, 39. I feel like he can retire if he feels like it. Maybe he wants to retire sooner. But one of the best to ever play the game. Still one of the best. Even though he's not as prime anymore, but at his prime, he made it to 7 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pro. You know, real beast, and he won MVP. I mean, how many running backs win MVP? Not many. I mean, very rare. Well, it's not very rare, but I mean, to be a player in the running back position and win MVP is is rare, you know. And yeah, uh, ran for 2,000 yards to 2,097, almost 2,100. Yeah, he's a real beast, let me tell you. And he is going to the Hall of Fame. All right. Okay, moving on. Okay, we're down to the players that are in the Hall of Fame. All right. He wore number 21 for most of his career. He was on the Falcons, then he was on the Cowboys, then he was on the Redskins, then he retired. Then he came back to the Ravens. You all know him. Primetime Deion. Let's give this man. He is in the Hall of Fame, and he shall stay in the Hall of Fame. This man is the definition of a cornerback. One of the fastest players, NFL players of all time. You could make a case he is. He could still outrun plenty of players in the NFL today at his age. One of the best. He had a great attitude. Very big tribute to the Dallas dynasty. Also, I forgot he was on the 49ers. My apologies. He was also on the 49ers for that 1 year. And yeah, him and Jerry Rice were one of the best cornerback wide receiver duos. Like, go at it. Actually, they are the best wide receiver and cornerback rivalries, you know? I heard it back in the day, they were always entertaining to watch. Best wide receiver and best cornerback of all time going at it. Yeah, what hell of a player. A ton of picks. Really good punt returning. He was so good at catching the ball. He played wide receiver for a bit during his time with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Deion Sanders, man. One of the fastest players of all time. The best cornerback of all time. And deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And that's that. One of the best. All right, moving on. Okay, our next man up. He is in the Hall of Fame. 14 years with the Buffalo Bills. 1 year with Washington where he barely played. You all know him. Andre Reed. Give him a round of applause to him. Andre Reed played in the NFL for 15 years. Was a really, really, really good player. But he stayed in the NFL for a pretty long time. But he was really clutch when he needed to be. But unfortunately, I don't see why he's in the Hall of Fame. Now, before you start booing me, it's not because of the numbers. It's just I actually, for the longest time, I never knew who he was. I looked at his film, or I looked at highlights and stuff. I mean, I don't think he really changed the position. He was really, really, really good. But I mean, did he really change the way you look at a wide receiver? I mean, you can make the case, yes, but I mean, there's plenty of other options to look at. I mean, I don't see him as elite. Maybe he is elite. Actually, he is elite. Yeah, I'm sorry. He is elite. But I mean, one of the best. Would you put Andre Reed and Randy Moss and Terrell Owens and Larry Fitzgerald and all the wide receivers in the same conversation? I mean, I just don't see him, man. I don't know. I feel bad. I mean, he's really, really, really good player. And he is in the NFL Hall of Fame. And good for him. But he's unfortunately not in my Hall of Fame. And I would not be making that decision. Unfortunately, good for him. He's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you can make a case any day in the week for him to be in the Hall of Fame. But unfortunately, I just don't see it. And he's not in my Hall of Fame personally. I'm a 17-year-old kid. I mean, why would he care, you know? But I'm sorry, Mr. Reed, but Andre Reed should not be in the Hall of Fame. All right. Oh, man, this was controversial, big time. All right, that's all I have to say today. I hope you all stay safe during this coronavirus time. Stay well, stay healthy. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace out.